Moscow, September 13th. On a day when the Russian capital was already alive with concerts, fireworks and parades to mark the city's annual celebrations, President Vladimir Putin took centre stage for an announcement that carried global significance. He inaugurated the National Space Centre, a vast and cutting-edge complex that officials are calling the new heart of Russia's space ambitions. The inauguration was not just another ceremonial ribbon cutting. It was staged deliberately as a powerful display of national pride and technological resilience at a time when Russia faces increasing isolation on the international stage. Construction of the National Space Centre began in 2019, a collaboration between the Moscow city government and Roscosmos, Russia's space agency. Now complete, the facility is set to unify the entire space sector under one roof. The Kremlin hailed the project as a landmark achievement and a reminder that even amid sanctions, strained resources and global competition, Russia intends to remain a major player in space exploration. President Putin was given an exclusive tour of the sprawling new complex. Inside, the centre houses the main offices of Roscosmos, a state-of-the-art situation room leading research institutes, design bureaus and industrial enterprises. The idea is simple: streamline operations, concentrate innovation and strengthen Russia's position in the global space race. Putin emphasized that this is about more than infrastructure. He declared this centre represents not just a new building, but a new era for Russia's space program. Walking through the gleaming corridors, he spoke with engineers and designers who will now work side by side in one place rather than across dispersed institutes. The president told them, "Here, under one roof, we are uniting our best engineers, scientists and designers to ensure that Russia remains a leading power in space exploration." This was also a moment of defiance. Putin framed the project as a direct answer to skeptics who argue that Russia's technological capacity has been weakened by sanctions and diplomatic isolation. He insisted, despite the difficulties we face, despite the sanctions and the attempts to isolate us, Russia will continue to innovate, to explore and to lead. He then broadened the context, linking the achievement to the nation's broader resilience. "We know that our country is under pressure, but our commitment to science, to technology, and to our future remains unwavering," Putin said. The timing of the inauguration underscored its political weight. Just hours before, in Washington, US President Donald Trump issued a sharp warning to NATO leaders. He demanded that member states halt all Russian oil purchases and impose new sanctions to help end the war in Ukraine. In his letter, Trump accused some allies of weakening the alliance's resolve and warned that American patience was running out. Meanwhile, in Europe, NATO had already launched Operation Eastern Sentry in response to reports of Russian drones breaching Polish airspace. French Rafale fighter jets were deployed eastward as part of the mission. The incident provoked heated exchanges at the United Nations Security Council, where Poland accused Moscow of deliberate provocation. Against this backdrop, the unveiling of the National Space Centre was as much a geopolitical message as it was a domestic celebration. The Kremlin wanted the world to see that, even while under fire diplomatically and economically, Russia is still investing in science, in space and in its future. Roscosmos chief Dmitry Bachanov underlined this point during his remarks. This facility is designed to bring together all the essential components of our space industry. Research, design, management, all of it will be centralized here to accelerate progress. First Deputy Prime Minister Denis Manturov added his own words of pride, saying, "We are building on Russia's proud legacy in space while preparing for the technological challenges of the 21st century." And Moscow's mayor, Sergei Sobyanin, tied the event to the day's celebrations, remarking, "This is a gift to Moscow, to Russia, and to future generations who will see that our country continues to aim high, quite literally." The symbolism of holding the inauguration during Moscow Day was deliberate. As the capital erupted in music and celebration, the Kremlin projected confidence and optimism, framing the new centre as a beacon of hope in challenging times. Yet outside Russia, the opening of the National Space Centre was interpreted differently. Western analysts called it a calculated move, a way for Moscow to demonstrate resilience and strength despite growing economic pressures. They point out that Russia's space program has faced significant setbacks in recent years: corruption scandals, budget cuts, and the loss of international contracts due to sanctions. Critics also question whether the new facility can overcome practical limitations. With restricted access to Western technology and increasing competition from both the United States and China, skeptics argue that Russia may struggle to meet the lofty goals symbolized by the gleaming new complex. But for Putin, technology is as much about power as it is about progress. Russia's history in space exploration is deeply intertwined with its identity as a global power. From the launch of Sputnik in 1957 to Yuri Gagarin's pioneering orbit in 1961, space achievements have long been woven into the nation's pride. By cutting the ribbon on the National Space Center in 2025, Putin placed himself directly in that lineage. He reminded his audience of that history when he declared, "Our history in space exploration is unmatched. We were the first to launch a satellite, the first to send a man into orbit." This center ensures that this proud tradition will continue. Officials have already announced that the center will coordinate upcoming lunar missions, oversee satellite launches, and supervise the development of next-generation rockets. There are also hints of new partnerships, though likely with countries outside the Western sphere. Still, challenges remain. Sanctions continue to choke access to key components. Private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are racing ahead with reusable rockets, and China's expanding lunar and planetary programs are raising the bar. Yet Putin made it clear that none of this would deter Russia. Concluding his remarks, he affirmed, "The cosmos has always been a field where Russia proved its strength. Today we show again that we are not retreating, we are advancing." As night fell and Moscow's skies lit up with fireworks, the contrast was striking. Outside, crowds celebrated the city's anniversary with music and dance. Inside the newly opened National Space Center, Russia sent a different kind of message, a message not only to its own citizens, but to the world. The message was that despite sanctions, despite war, despite diplomatic confrontation, Russia will continue to reach for the stars. The National Space Center now stands as a symbol of that determination. Whether it becomes the launch pad for a revitalized Russian space program or a monument to ambitions constrained by geopolitical reality remains to be seen. But on this day, Moscow projected certainty. The Kremlin wanted no doubts about its priorities. And with the world watching closely, Vladimir Putin made his declaration clear: Russia is still in the race, and Russia intends to win.